Last week we worked on an adorable baby cardigan, and this week I have a quick win for you here, something practical so you can make a matching headband for your cardigan. Now don't worry if you haven't made the cardigan yet, you can still of course use this headband. It's adorable and really versatile and extremely fast to crochet. The step-by-step tutorial is coming up. You should have plenty of yarn left in your cardigan contrast color, so we'll use that for this headband. But if you skipped making the cardigan and you're only making the headband, Lion Brand Feels Like Butter is what we're using. Or feel free to substitute with another medium weight yarn. Okay, to start this one off, chain 7 or 10, depending on the size you're making. We had two sizes, 6 months and 12 months for the cardigan. We have those same two sizes for this headband, so they're matching. Then we'll make the herringbone double crochet in the third chain from the hook. To do that, yarn over and insert the hook in the third chain. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And pull that same loop through the first loop on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through 1. And yarn over and pull through 2. And do that for each remaining chain. Now, if you're new around here, the best way to follow along with this tutorial or any tutorial on this site is to have the pattern in front of you too. Especially if you have questions about the pattern or the supplies I'm using, you'll find all of those details in the pattern itself. So you can view the pattern for free on my website, or if you prefer to have a copy in hand to print or save for later, you can pick up the PDF from my shop. I'll have a link to both of those options in the description below. Alright, when you make it to the end of the row, your work should look something like this. To start the next row, chain 2 and turn. Then find the next stitch over from the chain and herringbone double crochet there too. And do that for each remaining stitch. This pattern is really simple. It has a very straightforward repeat, if you could even call it a repeat. We're just making a herringbone double crochet in every stitch for every row. Now the chain 2 at the beginning of every row does count as a stitch for this pattern, which is your cue to work the last stitch of each row in the top turning chain. Then keep going. I'll repeat once again. Here is row 2 if you're following along with the instructions. So we'll chain 2 and turn and herringbone double crochet in every stitch. Now to know how many times you need to repeat this, well, it's different for each of the two sizes, so go ahead and refer to the pattern to get that target length for the size you're making. When you get through that repeat, your headband will look something like this. The next thing we need to do is clean up the edges a little bit so they're not so bumpy, and we'll do that with a simple single crochet border. So don't fasten off yet. Instead, rotate the work and evenly space 50 or 54 single crochet, again depending on what size you're making, along the edge. Now, one little tip I have for you here is not to work the single crochet around the entire stitch or around the entire chain, but instead splitting that chain or that stitch and placing the stitch somewhere in the middle. Doing that will really help keep the border clean, and it'll also cut down on the holes that are created between stitches. Now, if it looks a little curved when you've reached the end of that row, it's totally okay. This yarn is really stretchy, so just give it a stretch and it should straighten itself out. Then rotate the work again and make 2 single crochet in the first stitch for the corner. And 1 single crochet in each stitch to the last. And make 2 single crochet in the last stitch to form the opposite corner, which remember is a turning chain. So you're working 2 single crochets in your turning chain. All right, then rotate the work and evenly space 50 or 54 single crochet along the opposite edge. If you're not sure which number you should be working, 50 or 54, remember just refer to the written instructions, look at the size that you're making, and that'll tell you which one you need to work. All right, once you're finished with that, we're ready to start assembling this thing. So go ahead and trim a nice long tail and fasten off. Then thread that tail on a yarn needle as well. And start by folding the 2 ends of the headband together and then pinch each of the sides in half with your fingers. Then bring the folded ends together, sliding 1/2 of either fold inside the other. Then use the yarn needle to seam along these 4 layers, being sure to catch every layer in every stitch. So I'm using the whip stitch here like you often see me do because it works really well for this particular seam. But if there's another seaming method you like better, by all means, do what works best for you. When you get that short seam finished, go ahead and weave in your end. Turn it to the right side, and you're all set. Now, one cute thing you could potentially do is maybe add some flowers or a button or whatever you want to this little junction here. I think that would look really cute, or it looks great as it is. That's all for now, friend. I hope you enjoyed this quick little follow-up to our tutorial last week, and I'd love to see your photos if you share them with me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Don't forget to check the description below for pattern links, and I'll also include information for how you can get started with a cardigan too. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing if you're into this sort of thing. I make crochet and knitting videos all the time, and I'd love to keep inspiring you to make something that'll make you happy. If you are subscribed, thank you, truly. That support, as well as commenting, liking the videos, checking out my patterns on the website, and picking up the PDFs from my shop, well, there's no way I could keep doing what I'm doing without that support. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next one.